I have a little bit of a different holster here. It actually has a Smith Wesson insignia. I'm assuming it's for like a Model 60 or Chief Special or something like that, a 5-shot. Similar to, well, we're not loaded. So this is just it's a Model 60 clone by Taurus, and it fits in this holster beautifully. It has a Smith & Wesson insignia on the holster right here. And he said that this was issued to him in the Army. I think that's pretty cool. It uses elastic for tension. It is some sort of a shoulder rig. I don't have the strap, so I don't know much more about that. But we need to replace that elastic. My customer was kind enough, he sourced the elastic, so it's one less thing I have to do. It's just slightly narrower, maybe 3/16 of an inch narrower, but it'll still be fine. It'll work good. And it'll add that stiffness back in there that we need. Now I was hoping I could just cut the stitching on the elastic and re-stitch it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I think I'm going to have to open the holster all the way. But let's go along for the ride. Let's see how this holster is going to go. I'm going to take the elastic out first. There's really not going to be a lot of room to work in there, which I need a little more room than that. My needles will run into the other side, and I'm not going to be able to get my fat fingers in there to do stuff. Not way down here. So, but it's a pretty cool holster. At least I have a gun that I can test with to make sure that I've got everything right. This is the holster that I carry that in. So it's always like that. But let's get on with this. Let's see what we got going. I'll get the old elastic out and see if we're going to have to split it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to split this one to be able to get all the stitching done. As much as I hate doing that, especially on something like this. But it's a pretty cool holster. Alright, so there's a stitch line that runs right down here and another one here, and then the elastic just goes inside the holster and gets frayed up. It's two pieces, 2 layers thick. I may be able to come up with a little better way to do this. Since I have enough elastic here, we may be able to wind up tucking the one end under, like right in the middle here. So stitch it down here, tuck it back under, then stitch here. And that will keep it from fraying on the inside. I'm waiting for an email back from the customer. I'm going to have to split this holster to do this, so it kind of stinks, but it is what it is. I'm going to have to change my blade too. Or just grab another knife. It's the advantage to having a few of them around. So it did go in and fold over after it was stitched. Elastic can be pretty easy to sew with if you're careful, especially if I'm going across it this way, because it doesn't really stretch that way, it stretches this way. So it can be good and bad to work with. If you got to go the other way with it, it's not easy. At least not for me. I've always, everybody has that one thing within their craft that is just difficult. That's my one thing. And I don't do a lot of that with leather. Well, till now, I guess. So that's kind of cool. They just punched a round hole here and a slit up, and that's how they're retaining the gun. That's pretty cool. So there's our elastic. Now I can't really use this for any kind of a measurement really. The bottom is still pretty close, but it's lost all of its elasticity. So there isn't much I can do about that. This here has plenty of it. So now it's just a matter of picking the threads out. So I got it apart. I got all the thread taken out of this part. I did have to open it. There's no way I'm going to be able to stitch that without it. I thought about putting it on the machine, but when I start to open, I'd have to flatten the holster out because I can't. My cylinder arm machine would do this just fine, but it won't. It's got a hard time with a 1/38 thread. It's a Cobra Class 4. It's made for heavier thread. It'll do it, but it's going to take me an hour to set it up. I could use my 3115 Singer, but then I have to lay it out flat because it's not a cylinder arm machine. So I'm going to hand stitch it, which is not a big deal really. I hand stitch a lot of stuff, so. Alright, so I got you zoomed in a little bit. If I run my ends apart like that and then just fold over, now I'm down to 3 layers of stitching. This would be much easier if I could get it in the machine. Just can't do it, so we'll hand stitch it. I'm going to try different needles. These are a hand sewing needle, so they're for fabric. They are pointed, but they should be easier to get through the elastic. That's my hope. So let me get threaded up here, get a couple stitches in, and we'll see how we're going. Now if I put it, I need to put it through this way so that the end stays under. And I can just trim that off a little bit if I need to. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead, thread up, and get going here. I ain't got all day to do this. So we've got the first side stitched down. I saved you some of that pain. I'll try to show a little bit of it when I do the other side. But it's all stitched down. I think that having the fold on the inside, this was a lot of, since it's 2 pieces, it was a lot of frayed end on the inside. And I know that's going to happen with putting the gun in and out and all that kind of stuff, but I think the way I did it, it is going to be minimally intrusive to the holster. And I think it turned out looking pretty good. It always kind of stinks when you have to use existing stitch holes. Now I just need to trim this tail off here, which you're going to want a good sharp scissors. And just trim it off close. This has got nylon in it as well. Just kind of go along that edge a little bit. And you'll kind of singe everything back together so it doesn't fray quite as easy. And that's all there is to it. So I have to do get the other side done. My shoulder is killing me today. And hand sewing doesn't help. So I think that's going to wind up looking pretty good. But I'm going to call it a day, go in and rest my shoulder, and I will be back at it tomorrow. Pick and thread, my favorite part. Not. But the elastic is stitched in. Looks pretty darn good to me. I suspect it's going to work very well for his firearm. I won't know until he tries it. The holster is for a Model 10, Smith Wesson Model 10, which I don't have. My Taurus is a Model 60 clone, so they are a little different. The Model 10, I do have a Model 10, but it's a 4-inch barrel, so it won't fit in here. The Model 10 is a 6-shot, where the Model 60 is a 5. We got 4 pins holding things together. Hopefully I'll just be able to make my passes through these extra where the loops are without any incident. That's what we'll hope. My first one here, I'm going to go in, I'm going to back stitch one, or use a binding stitch in here. So the first one catches that loop, so. Still got too much crap on my bench. So these stitch holes are kind of like a French hole. They don't have a lot of angle to them. I'm just trying to make sure that I go in and I make my stitch every time. So I'm going around the same side of the thread every time. That will keep your stitch looking consistent. Had some thread still in that hole. So now I'm just gonna stitch like any other time I'd be stitching. Managed to get all that done. Well, it's stitched. The loops are back just where they belong. Need to do a nice little cleaning on it. Got my Model 60 clone out here. Make sure it's empty. Show you again. Nothing in it. And it fits in this holster quite nicely. So, looks like we got another one done. This is a Smith & Wesson 0332 is the number on the holster. So I'm just going to give it a quick clean and it'll be done. You're packed up to go home. There you go, guys. This is a Smith Wesson 0332. Don't know what significance that has. My customer carries a Model 10 in it, short-barreled Model 10. Closest thing I've got is a Model 60 clone. Just because I haven't been able to find a short-barreled Model 10 yet. I will someday. But there you go. It's all done. All stitched. The elastic, it really wasn't as hard as I thought it'd be. I did have to open it up. I was hoping I could do this without splitting the holster, but I did have to. It's the only way you're going to get that, all that stitching inside here. Short needles or not, there's no way you were going to get that done. But it came out really well. My Model 60 clone fits in it real nice. So hopefully his Model 10 will fit nice. And we'll be getting him on the road. But there you go. Another one down. And hopefully I got enough. There really wasn't a lot to this. Hopefully I got enough in there. I'm not sure what I got recorded yet, because I'll have to look at it. But y'all stay safe. God bless. Hit that subscribe button if you don't mind, or at least hit that like button. I appreciate that. And we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.